Hello everyone, and welcome to this new edition of the ECHO webinar. ECHO, the European Confederation of Outdoor Employers. Welcome to all of you in this month of October. Another few months, winter is slowly coming. There's been a summer that's been a bit average, and I hope that is going to go well this winter for everyone in the industry. It cannot be worse than last year because we didn't do anything last year. So I hope that it goes well for all of you. Um, anyway, we will see that in a few months now. We are only 6 weeks away or 5 weeks away from the resort opening. Tignes has already opened. I've seen that some Italian and Austrian glaciers have opened as well. I've exchanged with some of your some colleagues from the winter industry in Austria recently, and they've started to ski. I'm very jealous because I'm going to have to wait in the Jura Mountains. It's still very unsnowy. So um, today we are going to talk about surveys. Because as you may know, we one of our duty or one of our tasks or one of our activity at ECHO is to try to figure out what's happening in the trade and what is the view of the all the partners and all the colleagues and members who are actively delivering services in outdoor activities. And so we question people informally, but from time to time it's important to question formally, to have a structured base. We have done that in the last 2 years. We've done that twice. Uh, last year, we were involved in an EU project that was called Blueprint. We, as you know, because I've developed that issue in some previous webinars, we have, we've got two key partners in the industry nowadays. We've got Europe Active, which is the fitness industry. And with the fitness industry, we have signed an alliance. I've explained that in a previous webinar. Hello, Peter, and welcome to the webinar. We have made a partnership, an alliance with the fitness industry that we've called the active leisure. So whenever you hear about active leisure, it's fitness and the outdoors. And that gives us more power to discuss and negotiate with the EU Commission. And they're very responsive. I was writing to the Commission 2 days ago, and they come back to us, and they get to know who ECHO is, and the fact that active leisure has got its own sector and its own life in a way. So that's our partner. Of course, the other partner we've made a webinar together is ATTA, the Adventure Travel Trade Organization. And anyway, we've never run an EU project with ATTA. We will probably do so in the future on a topic that concerns both tour operators and service providers, because of course we are representing service providers. And I was just saying hello to a Dutch service provider here who arrived on the webinar. And with the fitness, we constructed a project called Blueprint. The idea of Blueprint was to figure out what the situation is in terms of education in the outdoors, in the fitness industry, what the key drivers are, what is the key concern for outdoor professionals, and of course for fitness professionals, and try to envisage how we could see the future and what sounds feasible in the future. What are the key issues that we need to address in the future? This year, and I developed this recently over another webinar. We had a survey that we ran, in particular over the water industry, lake, sea, and rivers, which is the water sort of subsector of the outdoors. We've got the snow subsector, we've got the earth subsector, the air subsector. There are 5 different subsectors in the outdoors, and all this constitutes the outdoors. So we ran a survey. The survey we ran during the Blueprint project concerned probably something like 150 key professionals, service providers, training providers mainly. And we also ran 40 interviews on the phone. And we had about 10 or 12 meetings, face-to-face meetings, in Portugal, in France, in Ireland, and that was about it. And then the survey we ran this year, we had a set of 12 interviews that were quite comprehensive, and we had about 25 or 30 exchange with professionals, mainly service providers from the water industry. All in all, from 10 to 12 different member states, because as you know, we've got an EU-wide network, and every day we deal with different nationalities. This morning I was explaining issues about the delegated act in skiing to a group of Swedish instructors. Yesterday it was defending Dutch or Belgium. So yeah, we do. I've been exchanging recently with Slovenians to try to put something together in Slovenia. So we try to have a view from the different places in Europe. It's not just I'm French, we've got a view in France, but it's only 1 out of 26, and it's always very interesting to listen to what the every single member state has got to say, because every single member state has got a personal approach. Some activities are different. I mean, there are leading activities in France or in certain parts of France or Italy, and there are other leading activities in other parts. Some are part of the Alpine Arc, of the really mountaineering. Others are more flat countries like Belgium or Estonia, or some are mixed, like Germany, Poland. And so each member state has developed a particular culture in outdoor delivery. Although today, and it's always funny because often one member state thinks that he's better at doing one activity than the others, but there are professionals absolutely everywhere in Europe, and of course, and we can learn from each other, and that's terribly important that we learn from each other and exchange on these on outdoor issues. So again, the what I want to talk to you about tonight is talk to you is bring you a feedback on what we have gathered in terms of information through the Blueprint or through the survey we have run this year for the water industry. Again, is the feedback from all across the EU and from a lot of different providers. I'm going to try to draw a common vision, the current situation relating to employment in the outdoor sector. It's somehow quite paradoxical, because most service and training providers actually seem to be training and employing outdoor animators who do have the necessary technical skills, but generally speaking, lack competencies in soft skills. In what it was one of our Irish colleagues who mentioned the lack of emotional intelligence. You will look it up on you will place it on Google. You will see that emotional intelligence is the art of or the art or the ability to analyze, to understand, to exchange, to communicate with the others due to the way they behave, the way they look, the way they act. Not just through words. It's an understanding of the other. And currently, we are a trade. We are a sector. That's not a statement I am making. It's just it's the what I'm telling you now. It comes from all these different interviews and research and survey people who answered it. We do, generally speaking, we do have very good technicians across the EU. Of course, the Germans think they are the best, and then the French think they are the best, and the fastest and the quickest, and the Spanish thinks they are everyone thinks he's the best, but that's not in any way. Whoever is the best, they are all good. They've got a minimum technical skill that is sufficiently good for what we have to deliver. Because we are not sports people. We don't deliver performance. We don't deliver competition. We don't train. We are not sports coaches. We don't train people to achieve results. We just deliver a service to amuse people, to distract them, to make them have a fantastic experience. And for this purpose, for our paying clients, generally speaking, the technical skills that are provided by the national governing bodies or by the federations or by the professional organizations are good enough. Really, what is missing is this soft skill, emotional intelligence, this ability for the people working in our sector to really understand and share emotions and communication with their customers. Of course, they do tend to develop this over the years, and everyone who is 40, 50 years old and who's been in the trade for 20 years naturally develops this ability. I'm not talking about these people. I'm talking about those who enter the sector and who are trained when they just finish their training. 90% of the training is technical. So that's what we are talking about. We had a very interesting comment. It was in the middle of we were in during this survey and this set of interviews. I remember one very significant example in Portugal, where we were discussing with a company that offers biking tours of Templars sites. I mean, as you know, or as you may know, Portugal may come originally from pour ton Graal, for your Graal, and Portugal has got a historical background very much linked to the Templars. You've all heard of the Templars. Anyway, there are Templar sites in Portugal in particular. And of course, this company is visiting these sites with using the service of mountain bike guides. And the managing director was saying, I've got a problem. I get by with because I need to employ guys who can bicycle, but the key issue of my delivery is not to bike. Biking is only a way. I need people with brains, with a historical background, people who can learn, who can deliver a story about Templars. And if they can't do that, no matter how good bikers they are, it defeats the object, because the object is not for my clients to improve in biking. It's to discover the story of the Templars. And we had another discussion in France with a set of guys who are visiting vineyards with bicycles, and the same thing was there. And they said, it's all very good that the pros that we employ are really good bikers, But that's not the issue. Of course, they all have the right level, technical level, but we need guys who know how wine is made and how and what wine tastes, and who can tell stories. And there are in a lot of member states, there are a lot of places where outdoor activities are not delivered just for themselves. They are delivered as a package with something else, and that's where it's even more blatant than this difference between technical and emotional intelligence, soft skills, whatever you want to call them. Um, of course, some member states are more sensitive to this issue than others. I'm going to take you two opposite examples that will make you immediately understand the situation. I've been teaching skiing in the Free Valleys for 20 years as a ski instructor. Okay. I'm going to admit something to you. I didn't have to be good. I mean, the Free Valleys on a sunny day in February, in March, or in January is such a great place that even if I'm bad, the experience shared by my clients will be absolutely fantastic. The après ski, the vin chaud, the French wine, the whatever, the super slopes, the lift company that operates really well, blah blah blah. All this is already 90%. I don't have to be a good animator. I don't have to be good. And if I'm just a technician, it may work. Now I take you another example. You go to Flanders or to Wallonie on flat lands, and you take a seminar, an incentive group of 20 people on a November afternoon in Belgium on a flat river with 10 canoes or 10 kayaks. I mean, excuse my French, but shit, if you are not a good outdoor animator with some brains and some ideas, you deliver nothing. So you don't have to, I mean, if you are just a technician on these rivers, you do nothing. The guys never come back. You don't make them discover a super experience. You just do nothing at all. And maybe if I had been there, I would have been useless. So it's very important to analyze these two sides of our sector, of our job, and realize. I mean, that's the message that was passed on to us through these interviews of Blueprint. And this year again, in the surveys we ran during the paddle show or during before, after, we were online for a while. We've even spoken to you about it. And this is not just this situation is not just a situation linked to service providers. The training provider, sorry, blah blah, blah. Excuse my French. The training providers have their share part of the responsibility, because historically in Europe we've got two kinds of training. I'm talking generally speaking. We've got a group at EQF 304, so infra A level, sort of the organized for the 16 years old of this world up to 18, 20 years old. EQF 4 is A level, okay? EQF 5 is a short cycle, and EQF 6 is bachelor at university, okay? So EQF 3 and 4 is young people who've been into clubs, who've been racers very often, and then school is not really their prime interest. So they slowly move towards, okay, I'm a super kayakist, I'm a super skier, I'm going to become an instructor, and they go, and most NGBs or most training providers, private providers, a lot of them anyway, across the EU, are training at EQF 3 and 4, and are training quite technical issues. I mean, people are in a raft, are on a pair of skis, are on a bicycle, are going up and down on a cliff with, climbing, etc., etc. And the debate is technical. And then the other side of the training, the other aspect of the training is an EQF6, because universities and historically sports universities who have decided to get interested in the outdoors and tourism and leisure, in fact, train people at EQF6. At EQF6, you are not just in full responsibility of the groups. That's EQF. The first level is EQF4 and really is EQF5. At EQF6, with a bachelor, you become a manager. You are trained by the university to get out of your kayak and supervise people. Okay? You are trained to take your pair of skis off and supervise a team of instructors. You are the chief instructor. EQF6 is typically chief instructor. And so but historically, across the EU, we either get people at EQF3 or 4 who are young super technicians and may remain super technicians, but who are not made interested in soft skills and emotional intelligence. We don't ask them to use their brains very much. I mean, with no bad judgment or bad feeling. I'm not saying that they are stupid. I'm saying that because they're not. They're very smart people. But they are the concentration is on the technical issue at EQF 3 and 4. And when the training providers start developing the mind, and to say, now look, maybe there is just more than the paddle and the pair of skis or whatever, it's to take them out of the animator job to make them become more managers. And so, in fact, this EQF5, where we've got a reasonable technician with a good understanding and a good set of learning outcomes in the soft skills, historically does not exist. It does not exist anywhere in the EU. When we ran the EU project ELISA, we made a survey across the EU on this issue. That was 10 years ago. We didn't find any training at EQF5. And this is why ECHO and its partners created a standard at EQF5, because it was analyzed as being the level between 3 and 6 where the core of the requirements is. And these surveys clearly demonstrated this. And I was talking to a senior guy in Ireland who is now in charge of NGBs and who used to run private businesses and et cetera, et cetera. And he acknowledged that fact. Actually, in Ireland, 90% of the training is at EQF4. And he said, the thing is that if we've got the choice when it's time to employ people between an EQF3 and 4 who is a technician and a manager at EQF6 who may not be good enough technically, we always choose 3 or 4. And so the sector is, because we are employing by default, employing 3 and 4s, we sort of maintain the training providers in the idea that this is what should be done, because they see us as employing these people, but we employ them because that's the only thing we have. And if we go for EQF6, we don't have animators anymore. We've got managers, and we don't want. I mean, we do want managers in our companies, but you want one for 10 EQF3 and 4. You want one EQF6. You don't want to have 20 managers. Otherwise, you've got too many chiefs and not enough Indians. And in small companies, most of the time, actually, the owner of the company is the chief, and he employs Indians. But we don't want Indians at just EQF3 and 4. We would like Indians at EQF5. And that doesn't exist by nature. You see the idea. And that's the paradox of our situation. Again, I'm not suggesting by any means that the training on offer is not good. The training on offer is very good. What I mean is that there is a problem with the adequacy, and in particular between between the learning outcomes, the training programs, and the true requirements of the outdoor as a sector. And that's what transpires out of these surveys. It's this paradox between the what is being offered and what is required. And today, if we analyze this if we follow these interviews and see what when people talk about this lack of adequacy between the offer and the requirements, there is clearly a room for EQF5. I would say that if we were to consider the ideal world, if we were in a unicorn world, I wish I was in a unicorn world. It would be so easy. Out of 10 people, and we did actually, one of the questions was, if you had to employ 10 people in your ski school, in your raft base camp, in your kayak organization, if you had to employ 10 people, what would you do? And the average was I would have 6 or 7 EQF. I would have 5 EQF 3 or 4. I would have 5 EQF or 4 or 5 EQF 5, and 1 EQF 6, if the EQF 6 is not the owner. So yeah, there is room for assistant animators and for people first entry at least EQF 3 or 4, but not 100%, 20%, 30%, not 100%, which is what we have at the moment. So again, we are not talking about bad education. We are talking about a gap, and I wouldn't want that anyone thinks that ECHO believes that the training in Europe for outdoor animator is not good. It is very good at level 3 and 4 and at level 6, but there is no training at EQF 5. That's what we are saying, is that there is a clear gap between the offer and the needs, because we need EQF 5s. And this survey was very clear on that. And again, I would like to insist that this is across the EU. It's not just Western Europe. It's not just a group of people, or it doesn't come from big companies, or no. It's the panel that we interviewed was very broad, and there was big companies and there was small companies, and the general consensus is that. The other questions that we addressed during these that was the first part of the interview and the survey of these two surveys I'm relating to, the blueprints and the more recent survey in the water subsector. The other thing where we asked people was the key drivers. We said, okay, that's your analyze of the needs of the market that's one thing. In terms of key drivers, what would you consider? What are the topics at the moment that concern you, and what can you see in these topics? And there was 3 key drivers that were suggested to us. The first one was the technological. Sorry, I'm stuck into technique. The technological issue, the use of technological device and the improvement, and I will feed you on this in a few moments. The second one was communication, the apps and these sort of things, and we actually made a little comments on this. I'll come back to it. And then the third one was the environment. So according to the interviewees, I don't know if that word exists in English. If it doesn't, now it exists. Interviewees, of course, meaning those who have been interviewed. So according to these to the people we interviewed, there's three key issues. There are many more, but 3 key ones that are of concern of outdoor professionals: technological issues, communication, and environment. technological issues is absolutely massive. In terms of response, we had 97% respondents. I think it's better that interviewees, respondent sounds better. Said that indeed, for 90%, 97% of them, technological has been identified as essential, as an essential key driver. And what the participants mostly questioned on this issue was the impact of technology on the sector, and how key actors, like especially service providers, would find a balance to include technology without making it a priority, or without, as one said by a friend of ours, a colleague, without dehumanizing the service. There was a very funny that will make you understand this comment. There was a very funny cartoon that was circulating on Outdoor Network on Facebook the other day, and there was 4 boxes, and there was this guy with his digital watch facing another guy, and he said, the guy with the watch says, "Oh, I've made so many miles in 2 hours," and the other guy said, "All right." And I've gone that many miles up and down, and oh, yeah, right. And then the other guy says to him, "Was it fun?" And the first guy looks at his watch and he says, "It doesn't say." And that's exactly the limit of I mean, the impact of technology on the outdoors is absolutely great, but it creates a set of risks that are not to be that are to be addressed. As you know, I'm going to take a few examples or mention a few issues that you will immediately understand the problems that it may create. Clothes and equipment have improved in the last sort of 10 years quite dramatically. And of course, protection gear, clothing, safety, blah, blah, blah. And I see a lot of people, even here in the Jura Mountain, which, I mean, has never been renowned for great accidents, but I see people with helmets, back protections, camel bags to drink while they are skiing. I mean, they can't even stop for 5 minutes to take a drink, you know. You see people being overprotected by super carbon things, and that leads to, I mean, it can lead to, in fact, a propension, an ability to take risks that you wouldn't have taken before. And so it could be argued that technological improvement, may lead to an over risk taking, because you feel overprotected. And the same guy with a helmet and a back protection, would he ski or kayak or mountain bike the same way he does if he didn't have that sort of equipment? And isn't he taking risks that he can't handle technically this time? And psychologically, it is quite a possibility. And so there is there again, this issue of technology leads to new problems. There is another aspect in this, is apart from the level of safety, is when you take equipment that allows you to go into places where nobody's been before, you create new issues, because suddenly the local municipality will have to build a bridge, because where there's been one person before, now there are 20 a day, because of the apps, because of the technology. And so, you know, it's what used to be reserved to a handful of sort of connoisseurs suddenly becomes accessible to thousands. You may have seen this summer, this spring, and last spring, photos of Mount Everest, the top of Mount Everest, with a queue of 300 people. Last summer, 3 people died. They froze to death while waiting to go to the top, because it seems that everyone can go to the top because the jackets are warmer, because because you've got micro things to breathe oxygen, because you've got super technology. And then that drives you into an idea that you've got to tick boxes, and okay, Mont Blanc done, Mount Everest done, Zambezi done. Okay, it's great. I mean, it's got great aspects for the outdoors, but it's something that we should keep being aware of as professionals, because it leads to new issues and new safety issues and new ways to access to the outdoors. And it's for us as professionals to think of that and to think of what we are doing. Um, um, okay, that's for technology. The second one is communication. The second key driver that was analyzed, communication, which is somehow quite linked to technology, because this electronic device, I mean, the most famous one is apps. Uh, there are apps now for trails and tracks, and I came across the other day on um, uh, Ireland is calling. I will take that later. Um, there are apps for absolutely everything, and I came across the other day on an app for sailing. This is very good. This is very interesting. But of course, it creates where before access was driven by experience, by knowledge of the environment, word of mouth with people who'd been there before. Uh, Now it should be replaced by an app. A, it's not quite the same. B, an app is not going to replace experience and knowledge. C, what happens if the app fails? I mean, I'm driving and I'm sailing through the app, and then my telephone falls in the water. What do I do? There is no signal anymore because there is fog or rain or whatever in the mountain. What do I do? So communication can be a help, but again, as professionals, we've got to be very careful with the implications and with the consequences. Sometimes, in a way that we don't expect. We had an exchange with some colleagues, Belgium colleagues who are mushers. It's a very interesting feedback that we had from these people. There are mushers in the Arctic, in Finland, north of Finland, and they go on mushing, sledges, mushers, and they go and visit the land of Father Christmas in the north of Finland. All very good, and of course they do camps at night and whatever. And we were talking with them, saying, "Oh, how has the season been?" "Oh, very good. We had plenty of clients, Americans, blah blah blah. It's really great, but we've had to change our way of operating." So we said, "Oh, right. What's new?" We were always interested in new things in the outdoors. And they said, we have redesigned our service, and we now go with dogs and sledges and equipment for the 10 days we spend in the north part of Finland. And now we take a psychologist, a psychologist. So I said, what do you mean? You take a psychologist sledging with you? So they said, yeah, with the clients. And I said, why? What's a psychologist doing with you, in North Finland? And they said, well, we've got two problems. The first one is that it's too silent. There is not enough noise. So a lot of our clients don't sleep at night. And that's a problem because they don't sleep at night. So they're tired. How interesting. Not enough noise. So I guess they ask the dogs to bark a bit more to sort of make people go to sleep and replace the sound of police cars and taxis and ambulances in New York or whatever. I don't know. But he said the most thing is due to communication. And I said, what are you talking about? And he said, actually, it's not communication, it's no communication. When they arrive there, after 2 days of trip, they run out of signal and they lose the plot because they are completely disconnected from their world. And so you say, all right, so it's communication tools or lack of communication tools. And as you can see, whether I lose my iPhone on the boat because I drop it in the sea and suddenly I've got no more app. And so it's all down to knowledge. And the other way around, the disappearance of communication possibilities is also can also be a problem. And as you can see, the service delivery is completely affected by this. And so again, that's an interesting feedback that we should take into account when we deliver our service and think about it. Well, I'm not, this survey is not bringing any particular solution. I'm just, what is important is that as outdoor professionals, you can think about it when you deliver your service and think, no, how do I take this into account? How do I improve this or whatever? You are the pros. And of course, the third issue that I mentioned is environment, and that's a key driver for a lot of outdoor pros. We had the feedback. I mean, the key question on this is not the issue of global warming and changing climate and possibly changing in service delivery conditions. The issue was the question that a lot of outdoor pros are asking is the role they should play with this. I mean, the fact that they should take it into account in the future delivery of the service is for sure. There is no real debate on this. The only debate is what should we do and how is it going to affect and what's going to happen and how we are going to deliver our service adapting to this situation. It's the big question is also the role. Are we here to deliver? I mean, we are paid by our clients to deliver a service. Are we also paid to educate them? It's a question. It's a question because some of them expect that we should actively participate and that outdoor professionals should be leaders, should be models, should be examples to be followed. How do we construct a service delivery according to these visions? How should we change this? I don't have the answer, but we are going collectively as an organization, ECHO and the national organizations and the national professional bodies, we are going to have to address this issue in the coming years. Not only how do we adapt our service due to climate change, but what role we play in this and how we address our clientele. That's the key driver that was asked for. I would like to finish on a few suggestions that were made for future issue. What's the time? You see, I'm talking. There is two aspects that the respondents said these are the ideas we would like to be addressed in the future. And to be honest, we probably will run webinars or meetings or EU projects. It's not probable, it's certain that ECHO in the coming months and years will be running roundtables and other surveys and we will address these issues, the issues that have been um, suggested and recommended. The first one, there are two. I mean, the question was what the future might be, and we were asking about sort of try to find a consensus during these meetings, and the answers we had two sides. The first one is the substance, and the other one is the form. Substantial on the substance, the content, the key issue, and in line with the results of the research, the participants have all acknowledged the importance of addressing these so-called soft skills that were mentioned before, and in a very important way. For those of you who have watched the webinar that we ran with ATTA, that was a key driver for ATTA. The fact that we should be addressed the soft skills, and we should be considering that, of course, it is necessary that our outdoor animators, our employees, do dispose of some technique, of sufficient technique, but sufficient technique not compared with the world champion, sufficient technique compared with the client, which is two different things. And at least at a level that is sufficient for our client. But the what we are missing, that we mentioned, is clearly the interpersonal communication, the emotional intelligence, the psychology, the awareness, the mindfulness, and these are on a substance, the evolution in the future, the recommendations that we had from these people we interviewed, the interviewees, was to address the issue of soft skills and make sure that it's more present in the training that is being delivered. And the second aspect of their recommendations and questions for the future was on the form. For the last 80 years, since the 40s, the 50s, the tradition in the outdoors has been a face-to-face, on the hill or in the river, in the field course. The 99% of courses organized in the outdoors, people are in the outdoors and address technical issues from the outdoors. Okay. We are in the 21st century, and clearly the demand, the need for online issues is there. Now, we will not be able to do everything online. How do you develop technical skills online? Of course, you can't. But there are a lot of things you can do online. I mean, we've had a meeting, ECHO had a meeting with a German company specialized in certification. And we asked them the question of how to develop certification of outdoor courses online. And they said, we have developed for classrooms, we can control. I mean, it was not quite interesting. It was very interesting. They dispose cameras in different places, and there are windows or whatever, and they can be 99% sure that there is no cheating in an exam if you evaluate this exam distantly. And today you can assess very easily, if there are apps for that, if a photo has been photoshopped or if a video has been modified. You can access to a bank by just presenting a copy of your passport with your face. Can we assess courses distantly, online? Can we assess people in Finland if you are sitting in Germany by asking them to video their technical demonstration? I'm not saying that this is what should be done. I'm not saying anything. I'm just passing you a message, a question, something we will have to address in the coming, very shortly in the coming years. More soft skills online. It will lead to transforming our offer. I mean, Oxford University this year is offering 100% of its courses online. We offer 0% of our trainings online, or quasi zero. So between 100% and zero, there's probably a place for the outdoors. And no, we will not train kayak online, that's for sure. But maybe we can deliver certain courses online. Maybe we can do certain assessments online, and therefore contribute to avoid people all moving to one place, and etc., etc. So that's, anyway, to cut a long story short, that's the two key issues that our respondents suggested we should look into. As you can see, these surveys are extremely interesting, or these interviews. For those of you who watched the webinar about the water activities, there was some suggestions, recommendations from the trades, from professionals who handles thousands of clients. And again, these surveys, the blueprint survey result is actually online on our website, on ECHO website. So you can have access to it. I will ask Audrey to put it to put a link when she sends the review. What is extremely interesting in these interviews and surveys is that from all around the EU there are remarks, comments, suggestions, recommendations, interrogations that are coming back. And it's very interesting that after 150 surveys, after 40 interviews in 12 different member states, you hear the same story. And it's not because people are Greek or Irish or Estonians. We are in the 21st century. We are in the outdoors, and our clientele is extremely mobile. Our staff is extremely mobile. It's evaluating, it's changing. And we need to address these issues to find solutions. We will not find them like this, but in the coming months, in the coming years, we need to address these issues. And that's what I wanted to pass on tonight to you, and to give you an incentive maybe to go on our website to pick up the blueprint results and to read the full shebang, to say, okay, I see the world in my valley. I see the world on my river with my clients. My clients are Spanish, they are Dutch, they are Irish. It's good to hear from across the EU, and that's what we are here for, is to draw information from the ground and pass it back to the ground. So do go on our website and have a good read of this result. We will carry on next year. We will do a new survey and a new report that we will publish, and I will present it here most probably. We are not until next year. It's now 6 o'clock. I've been nearly 6 o'clock. Thank you very much for those of you who have joined us for this webinar, and those of you who will watch this webinar afterwards, because there's actually even more people watching afterwards than during, but that's the joy of internet. Next month, we will be meeting again, and the date is the 18th. I'm glad I've got people to help me because my brain is going a bit. The 18th of November, we will be meeting again for a new webinar. Until then, you know our telephone number, our email. If you've got something about the outdoors, your company, your organization, the EU, the commission, the recognition of your qualifications, whatever you have for a problem, you give us a call and we can advise and help and assist in as much as we can, or orientate you to the right people. Thank you for being with us, and we'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.